But what we have to do, Peter, is we have to plan today for how we're going to pay our taxes for the next couple of years.
Welcome into Financial Focus, brought to you by the best of the best in financial services, 11 straight years and running. As named by the readers of the Lake City Reporter, they are the team from GulfCoast Financial, and founder and CEO John Kuykendall here with us as always, helping us to stay financially focused. And John, as always, things change in the financial world, but when there's change up in Washington to our tax code, to our retirement accounts, to the brackets and the deductions, we always pay attention to that because that means that our plans need to be monitored and maybe adjusted. And I think with the passage of the one big beautiful bill, probably no exception here, there are things that savers and investors need to know.
Well, that's right, Peter. And it's a great, beautiful bill. There are a lot of things in it that are very good for seniors. And there's some things that seniors wanted that they didn't get, like no tax on Social Security. We still have that. But in order to get around that, President Trump gave us an additional $6,000 for seniors, a deduction based upon income. So based upon whether you're filing joint or single, 75,000 and below for single, above 150, I think it is for joint, which is a great thing because those of us who make less than 150 filing jointly, they get that extra 6,000. It's going to really help their tax situation.
This is one of those things, though, John, where what is being said is a little bit different. It's the minutia than the reality of the situation because they're advertising, the language is no more tax on Social Security. Well, like you said, the tax on Social Security is actually still there. They couldn't get that rectified because of the way the bill passed through reconciliation. But what they did was offered this kind of offsetting credit or additional deduction for people of Social Security age. So in a sense, there's a wash, but it's not a straight repeal of Social Security being taxed. That is still part of our return. That the equation is in there that Social Security is taxed. We just get this offsetting kind of deduction, right?
Yeah, we still have the tax on Social Security. And if jointly you make over $150,000, then this isn't going to help you any. So it's the same thing. So what we really have to do is that financially focused income plan that we talk about, Peter, all the time on this show, where we do the tax planning, we do the Social Security planning, we do all of the planning together as a holistic approach. You need to get a new tax situation done for tax planning to see where you're going to fall. There's still a lot to come. There's still interpretations that have to come, but based upon what we have right now, we should be able to plan with what is available for us. And so these are all things that are going to happen in 2025 that will affect our tax when we file it next April.
Now, we do have a little bit more certainty looking forward. They are loving to use the word permanent here, that these are permanent tax rates and brackets. John, for quite some time here on the program, we have been talking about the concern that the way things stood, taxes would be changing and increasing at the end of 2025. We now know that that is not going to happen, but the permanency of the current tax rates as advertised may not be so permanent. It's just until Congress comes back around and changes them again, right?
Right. I mean, nothing is permanent with Washington. You know that because it's always subject to change. But what Trump has done with this great big tax bill, beautiful tax bill, is he has placed the 2017 tax cuts in place, the majority of them permanently. Now, those can, like you said, can be changed. But we have to continually plan, Peter. You take what you know today and you plan for it because it's going to change tomorrow.
Well, all it takes is an act of Congress, right? If something's
That's
hard to
right.
change, the old saying was, well, that's going to take an act of Congress. Well, if the rates are going to change, it's going to take an act of Congress here. However, John, I think that there are some provisions built in here that sort of incentivize Congress to act. For instance, that Social Security offsetting tax deduction that we just mentioned,
Mhm.
that provision expires in 2028. And there's
Right.
several other things that expire. The reduction for income off of tips and the state and local
State
tax.
local.
Yeah, all of those things expire in 2028 or 2030. So
30.
at some
Mhm.
point in time, like there is another conversation that's going to be had about changing and updating the tax code. So maybe not as permanent as they would like to advertise today.
Well, the majority of it is supposedly permanent. There are a lot of things that we're getting. The state and local income tax or the state and local real estate taxes were capped at 10,000. That's now going to be capped at what, 40,000?
That'll be nice for Florida
That's
residents.
nice for,
Yeah.
well, yeah, for
Yeah.
especially for, actually, it was in New Jersey and New York, and those people were complaining more than anybody else
Sure.
when we limited it to 10,000. But those things are subject to running out, and this one, in 2030. And as you said, 2028 has some things run out. But what we have to do, Peter, is we have to plan today for how we're going to pay our taxes for the next couple of years.
Well, John, with all of these changes in place and with tax rates not going to automatically expire and go up at the end of this year, I know for a long time here on the program, we've been talking about the potential benefit of making Roth conversions. Is a Roth conversion strategy still something that we should be looking at?
Well, of course, Peter, Roth conversions allow us to take money that we're going to pay taxes on in the future, the growth and the money we put in order to convert it to something that as it grows, it's tax free. So we pay the taxes now, we never have to pay them again based upon current law. So that's certainly something that we should be concerned with, and certainly something we should look at if we have room. And with these new tax laws, we may have more room than we had before in some cases to go ahead and do the conversion and really not impact us a lot tax wise.
Right, with that extra $6,000 Social Security credit, giving us a little extra room. And John, with those Roth conversions, I mean, this one big beautiful bill did not do away with RMDs. It did not do away with IRMA, and the Roth conversions may benefit us in both of those areas, right?
Especially as we start taking our required minimum distributions. And, we don't do them now till age 75. So the RMDs are going to be more and more and more every year. So as that increases, we pay more taxes. Certainly, it's a good time to look at it before we have to do those. But, Peter, one of the things that really surprised me was the green energy tax credits kind of going away. The administrations in the past have been so green with this electric that now all of a sudden here we are. And in September of 25, that deadline looms where some of the business deductions go away for the electric cars.
Now, this isn't part of just the ongoing kind of feud with Elon, is it? Who knows, right?
Let's hope not. Let's
Yeah.
hope not. But interestingly, I listened to a study the other day on a Tesla electric car versus a small Rogue, Nissan Rogue. And actually, the Nissan Rogue wasn't that more expensive to drive than it was to drive the electric car.
Hmm. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah. However, the green energy tax credits part of this, they're
yes,
sunsetting. Some of those are going away. I know that's not one that applies to a lot of us as individual savers or investors, but part of the one big beautiful bill that, regardless, people should be aware of. Bottom line, though, John, tax law is volatile. It does change, and I think that there's this perception in the mind of politicians where they don't want to make negative tax law changes.
Hmm.
But a lot of tax law has a sunset date where it automatically expires. This one doesn't. So at some point in time, with $37 trillion in debt and continually overspending the revenue that we bring in, I think I was thinking about this. Only 1 year in my lifetime have we not run a deficit. So with all of that, at some point in time, they've got to come back to this conversation and look at tax rates again. And there will be changes at some point in the future.
Well, there will be changes in the future, Peter. There have to be. As you know, over 50% of the budget is with entitlements. And so it's actually 60, I think a little about 60%. So there's not a lot of room for the operating the government, paying for all the other stuff. But with the military and with the debt, which is increasing because of the high interest rates, the budget is tight. And so we're going to have to raise rates in order to get more revenue for the government. We can only continue this deficit spending so long because the more deficit spending, the more we pay. The more interest we pay, the less money we have. I mean, it's kind of like your own personal budget. When your credit cards reach a certain limit, you can't afford to borrow any more on them. And so the government's in that position. So while this is great, it's short term, it's short lived. It'll keep the economy going, I believe. And there's some nice things. But you got to remember that when you look and you say, well, there's no taxes on tips, remember that 10% of the people pay 90% of the taxes. So the certain majority, they wouldn't pay taxes anyway, even on the tips. So we're giving them a benefit, but it's not that much of a benefit.
Yeah. Bottom line, John, because tax laws have changed and been updated, it probably means that our plans also need to be revisited, possibly revised, certainly reviewed. And that is part of the ongoing process there at Gulf Coast Financial Services. You're helping people to make sure their plans are up to date with the now new and current laws moving forward.
That's right, Peter. We're looking, taking our software, putting putting your tax report for 2025, looking at what it's going to be projected in 2026 with the new laws, and then seeing where you are tax wise. That's what all of our clients will be doing. We're having lunch and learns. We're sending out emails. We're doing everything we can to educate the public. There's a lot of things in this bill. There's a lot of things we don't know yet. Things are going to change. And so as that changes, then we have to adapt. And that's one thing we do here is we try to stay on top of it. We try to keep our clients informed, and we want to do that modeling that has to be current so that we can do the Roth conversions and the things we need to do to save taxes in the future.
Well, if you would like to put your plan together, looking at the new updates, looking at how they impact you, looking at proactive strategies for this year and all of the years ahead, and what you can be thinking about or doing now to take advantage of lower rates, keeping more of your money, generating income, paying less in tax, ultimately the goal. That is part of the financially focused written retirement and retirement income plan and planning process there at Gulf Coast Financial Services. If you would like to take advantage and no cost, complimentary, courtesy review, and putting that plan together, you get the personalized, written, financially focused plans specific to you, your circumstances, your goals, your situation. If you'd like to look at that, pick up the phone, give a call to Gulf Coast Financial Services, 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018. Again, that's 386-755-9018. GulfCoastFinancial.net, online, GulfCoastFinancial.net. Plenty of resources available there. John, you always keep the resources on the website up to date and current as well. So lots of good stuff there. And John, we appreciate you reviewing the one big, beautiful bill with us and what we need to be thinking about for our proactive planning.
Well, we appreciate being here, Peter. And now we can eliminate or forget about estate taxes because it's 30 million per couple permanently.
Yeah, until it changes, right?
Changes.
Until an act of Congress there. And hey, maybe that group is much smaller that would be impacted by estate taxes, but ignoring the planning that can be done now is that much more significantly costly, right, John?
That's right. It's not those things that we're talking about. What we need to be looking at is how this is going to affect you tax wise and what we can do to make you more tax efficient.
Yeah. And that is part of the financially focused written retirement income plan. Ladies and gentlemen, pick up the phone, give Gulf Coast Financial Services a call, 386-755-9018, or visit online, gulfcoastfinancial.net. And John, we always appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. It's great to be here.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more financial focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors, including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. has been named as Best of the Best since 2015 in the category of Best Financial Advisor in the Lake City, Florida area. The award was based on receiving the most votes in this category from a survey offered and tabulated by the Lake City Reporter. No direct or indirect compensation was provided to the Lake City Reporter and/or any raters, and the award is not contingent on future direct or indirect compensation offered to the newspaper and/or raters. Portfolio performance is not a criterion, and voting is open to any readers of the newspaper.